Hey Wanderers, welcome back to our channel. So today's video is as promised, and it is part 1 in my Wander Diary series, My Mental Illness. So basically, I'm going to do one of these videos every 3 to 4 therapy sessions. I go every 2 weeks. I thought it would be a good way to document what I'm going through, how I'm recovering, and to share it with you guys. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who can relate, and it would be really great to connect with you guys and talk and basically get help from one another. So yes, I am sitting in my car in the driveway. It's the only place I can kind of escape the volume of my children right now. So I'm going to get right into it. So I have a couple definitions for you throughout this video as well, just so you kind of understand what I'm talking about, because they may be terms you've never heard before. So cue the intro. So mental illness refers to a wide range of mental health conditions, and basically they are disorders that affect your mood and behavior. So 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and my doctor basically, I explained to him how I was feeling, and he basically said, yep, you're depressed, and he prescribed me with an antidepressant. And I can't remember what the name of that antidepressant is. I think I've used 3 over the last 6 years. I'm currently not using any antidepressants. But basically, I've been on some and then off them because they just, I mean, in my opinion, in the long run, they don't make you feel better. They make you feel better at first, and I really believe it's more of like a mental state. You start thinking you're feeling better, so your mind is playing tricks on you, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because over a couple weeks, you really start to realize how you're actually feeling, and I just went downhill, and just my mood and my appetite, and it was just awful, and that's why I'm no longer on anything. If you watched my my birth vlog about Keegan, I kind of briefly touched on I was on an antidepressant after I had him because my OBGYN said that I had postpartum depression, and it was fine in the beginning, and then I started hallucinating and hearing things that weren't there, and it was just awful. So basically, dealing with my depression, I've just kind of learned to take it one day at a time. And that may be such a generic statement, but if you know me, you know that my mood can be very sporadic. So tiny little things that someone else may think like that's nothing, they set me off. Not like I'm this raging bull, but they either make me really angry, or they make me really sad, or they make me kind of numb. I'm just very all over the place with my emotions. So some days I wake up and it's like, I really wish I could just stay in bed all day and not do anything with my life. And then other days I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to like take on the day. Let's do this. Let's run a marathon. Let's run for president. Like, I'm just so ready to go. So on top of my depression and my anxiety, I also have PTSD, and that is post-traumatic stress disorder. And what that is it's a mental health condition triggered by a traumatic event, from either experiencing the event firsthand or witnessing it. Symptoms to go along with that generally include flashbacks, severe anxiety, nightmares, and also uncontrollable thoughts about the event. So basically, you'll just be living your life, and you'll see something, and it just instantly, like, you know in the movies when someone has a flashback and it fades to white and then shows what they're thinking about. That's literally what happens to you. You'll just be like driving along, and you'll see 2 people fighting on the side of the road, and for whatever reason you see like this white light, and boom, you're thinking of that traumatic event that happened to you. You literally see like a white light, and it's like a dream almost, if that makes sense to you guys. So my therapist told me that she firmly believes that I've had PTSD for the last 6 years, but my doctor, he never talked with me about it. It's not something, like, I mean, I always heard of PTSD with like workers in the medical field, veterans, that kind of thing, but I never thought it was just one of those things that someone could suffer from an abusive relationship or a form of assault. Like, I never clued into that. And she said, more than anything, it may not even be the depression that I'm feeling. It may just be the side effects of my PTSD. So I've had 4 sessions with my therapist, and after the second session, I believe it was, she mentioned to me at the end of my session that she suspected I was suffering from borderline personality disorder. Now, don't get like freaked out by that, because when I first heard it, I was like, what? Like, no, like, what is that? Like, it almost sounds scary. If I could appropriately say that. When I first heard borderline personality disorder, I pictured someone who had like 10 different personalities. Every day they woke up and they were someone different, or throughout the day they would just turn into this other person. That's not at all what it is. So she thought I had borderline personality disorder for one reason. I have a lot of difficulty regulating my emotions, and I'll get more into that. There's a chart I want to show you, but I'll get more into that in a minute. The thing a lot of people don't understand, and there are some people who say they have borderline personality. Why am I struggling so bad? A lot of people say they have borderline personality disorder, but they may not actually have it. My therapist was telling me there's a very thin line between diagnosing borderline personality disorder and PTSD. There's only like one or two small, there's only one or two characteristics. There we go. There's only one or two characteristics that separate the two. And she showed me the new manual that all the doctors use to basically diagnose. And I think it came out last year. And we kind of read through the borderline personality disorder section and the post-traumatic stress disorder section. And honestly, one or two things. So after talking with her more, she said to me, you know what? I firmly believe you have severe PTSD. You didn't even know that you could have post-traumatic stress disorder, let alone you've never had anyone help you through it. A lot of people take medication for it, so you've never done anything to help cope with it because you didn't know you had it. So it's just, over the last 6 years, it's just been progressing and progressing and progressing. So back into the discussion of regulating my emotions. So basically, I could be having a fantastic day, and say I'm driving the car and I'm going somewhere and I'm at a red light and I can't go through the red light, obviously, but there's someone behind me who wants to make a right-hand turn because legally they can make a right-hand turn on a red light. And they're honking their horn at me because I can't go, but they can go. It does a 360 and I am completely pissed off. And with regulating your emotions, basically you're supposed to be able to go high, go low, but bring yourself back to that middle ground. I can't do that. Once I'm mad, I am mad for an hour, 2 hours, a long time. Me and my mom always would butt heads like as I was growing up because we'd be having a conversation and she would get mad at me and like snap at me. Well, then I'm in a bad mood because you just snapped at me. Well, then 2 seconds later, she's like, so how was your day? Excuse me? Like I need to stay mad or I need to stay sad. I can't regulate and bring myself back to that middle ground. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but basically this is where your emotions are. This is where you regulate your emotions. And these are signs of chronic hyperarousal, and these are signs of chronic hypoarousal. So basically these are all the, this is your anger and this is your sadness. And I'm like, holy crap, all over the place. And only sometimes am I ever in this middle ground. You follow? So signs of chronic hyperarousal, which is the angry negative. It's emotional overwhelm, panic, impulsivity, hypervigilance, defensiveness, feeling unsafe, reactive, angry, and racing thoughts. Okay. Then there's signs of chronic hypoarousal. Numb, dead, passive, no feelings, no energy, can't think, disconnected, shut down, not there, ashamed, and can't say no to people. So when you look at someone, even if they just have anxiety, I mean, they're all over the place. Then you take someone with depression and anxiety, the numb, dead feeling, disconnected, can't think. Those are things that I struggle with on a daily basis. I will be laughing with my children, playing a game with them, and 2 seconds later I'm sitting there and I'm literally like this ghost. So I hope you guys understand that. If I can find this chart online, I will leave a link for it down below. That way you can check it out. But I got this from my therapist. So I hope you guys understood this video and that it was informative for you. I feel like a lot of people don't understand mental illness, and I feel like it's one of those things where someone says, oh, I suffer from mental illness, and everyone's kind of like, what? But mental illness, there's different severities of mental illness. I mean, there's severe mental illnesses like schizophrenia and those kind of things. And then there's innocent mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, and a lot of people suffer from depression and anxiety. It's not one of those uncommon things, but I feel like it's really taboo for people to say they have depression and anxiety. But if you suffer from any form of mental illness, don't be ashamed about it. Open up to someone, speak out about it. I'm always here. I don't care whether we know each other or not. From someone who has felt so alone I'm gonna cry. From someone who has felt so alone for so long, I will talk to anybody about it. I will listen to what you have to say. I will help you cope in the best way that I can help you. I am never going to say, grow up, get over it. That's not something to be upset over. I understand what it's like to feel every emotion and feeling literally all at once. And sometimes you get so overwhelmed by things that are so simple. Like I will start getting worked up about something and Dan will be like, what is going on? Chill out. And it's like, it literally feels like a mountain collapsing on me. But anyways, before I get too emotional and this closing gets too long, I just want to let you guys know that I will be making a video in this series every 3 to 4 weeks after a couple sessions have gone by. So there's more material to talk to you guys about. I really hope you did enjoy this video. It's good for me to do this because I get to sit down and I get to work all my thoughts out on paper to talk to you guys about, and then it gets me thinking even more. So keep an eye out for part 2, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye.